We live in a twilight world. Let me just turn off the aircon and everything. It's still very humid here in the UK. And the date at the moment, the current date on the Matrix calendar is the 4th of October, 4:10. Or in America, what they call 10-4, where they do it the other way around, which still no one has really explained to me. Why in America they put the month before the day. Very weird. But anyway, apparently a lot of the truther community thinks something big is going to happen today. You know what? I will say maybe something has happened, because I just took a quick look over on Twitter, and it's like I've been unlocked from the shadowy prison they put my account in. I had an abundance of kind of like likes, retweets and views, which I haven't had for a while, because I don't know, they go through phases where they clearly like shadow ban my account to the max, and then like today where it's not so much shadow banned and regular people that follow my account can just see it without having to go through the whole kind of puzzle game of trying to get to my account. Yeah, so maybe something has happened. I don't know, but yeah, I'm just telling you what I'm observing over on Twitter. Quite annoying, really, because I don't know, it just means there's loads of things to respond to, loads of questions I've been asked, and that's why I'm going to do a couple of quick videos today, man. But anyway, while I was over there, I saw this tweet here by a guy called Boosifus, who I've seen his tweets quite a lot. He's a funny guy. I've heard him on a few podcasts as well. He's a funny guy, man. He's probably worth a peek, he says some funny things. But this tweet I saw, and I found it very interesting. It says, boomers will become the oldest generation to live the longest. The average age at death will be 110. I don't know if that's true, but anyway, there will be no greatest transfer of wealth, because they will use every last penny up in retirement and healthcare. Their children will be elderly when they die and have nothing. Yes. Yes. I concur. If people don't know, my Matrix job, I work in a hospital, right? I do kind of like what they call bed watch, or kind of like support work security for anyone that's turned up in a regular hospital that has like challenging behaviour, we call it, which is basically the polite way of saying anyone who is like violent or aggressive, or potentially going to harm themselves or others, right? I go and like kind of like sit with them, and if I have to, I know how to restrain them safely, okay? Because you'll be surprised. If you don't work in a hospital, you don't work in the medical world, you'll be surprised how much something like a little bit of an infection, or a slight kind of off balance of their kidney and kidney functions and potassium levels can make people go fucking crazy. It makes them trip, man. They're tripping. They just don't realize where they are. They're very confused. They'll want to take a piss in the patient's bed next to them, and when you try and say no, you can't take a piss on that patient's bed, they will explode with anger. They walk around with their eyes closed like they're sleepwalking. Mad shit, man. Great job. I love it. But anyway, I digress. This tweet, what it's talking about, yeah, man, I concur. I see it a lot, man. Like, essentially right now, what happens to the elderly is they get to a certain stage where, well, let's say something happens to them, right? They fall over in the street. The postman comes round and he looks through the window and he sees that old Doris is lying on the floor, so he calls the ambulance. Ambulance comes round and, Doris has been there for half a day. She's fallen down, broken a hip. She hasn't been able to get up. Obviously, they take her into hospital. They do these cognitive tests, right? What's the day? Who's the current Prime Minister? How old are you? What's your address? I'm going to give you an address, and in 5 minutes' time, I'm going to ask you to remember that address. In 5 minutes' time, I'm going to ask you if you can repeat the address, And essentially, if they fail these cognitive tests, and also there's functional tests, right? They want to see that the old person can walk up the stairs, They can make a cup of tea by themselves. They can, heat up some food. Up on the elderly ward, they tend to have like this room that's got like a little makeshift kitchen in it, and it's got like steps. And essentially, the physiotherapist will assess them that they can walk on their own, they can go toilet by themselves. Basically, they can look after themselves. That they are what they call independent. If they're not, the hospital won't let them go home until a package of care has come in. Hang on, let's remove this tweet and put it over here. So yeah, the NA over here, and this is over here in the UK. I don't know what it's like in every other country, but we have the National Health Service. Yeah, this kind of socialist medical system that we're somehow all in, and that's it. If you fail these tests, they've got to get like a package of care for you. Now, right now, none of the younger generations want to get into that industry of care work because the money's shit, the hours are shit, and essentially, after the scamdemic, so many people have learned you can just sit at home and get your benefits, which kind of works out the same as if you're working, because there's hidden costs within going to work, right? Eating out all the time, petrol, because where people are not working and not paying petrol, not having to buy a uniform, not eating out all the time, the money kind of works out the same for a low-paying job and being on benefits. But anyway, none of the younger generations want to get into care work, so a lot of these elderly people are just stuck in a hospital. And then, of course, their health declines while they're in these shitty hospitals, right? Because, listen, you know it and I know it. If you could build the worst building possible for your health, horrible lighting, electricity everywhere, loud bangs and crashes at night all the time, depriving you of sleep, shitty food, it's a hospital, and they do that for some reason. And sure, they try and do things like put up a picture of a flowery meadow on, opposite your bed space, because apparently overlooking a garden helps you heal quicker. But a photograph, grip filled to the wall isn't the same thing, is it? Let's be honest, yeah. So yeah, man, and then that's it. To confirm what this guy Bousifus is saying, yeah, that's it. You're now locked into the medical system, and they will essentially, if you haven't got the capacity to make decisions, you've got them slight signs of dementia, that's it, man. The system kicks in, and unless you've got family that are going to step up and look after you, which most families don't do, right? Because in the West, in this Western culture, people have been conditioned to care more about their stupid fake job than they have their family members. Most families like, well, I can't look after my dad. I got a job. I got a job. Families that live 5 minutes around the corner and they only turn up like once a week. God, I was just too busy working. Sad, really, but that is Western culture, which they've deliberately done. They've engineered people in the West to care more about their stupid fake job, paying for their 2.5 children, their 2.5 cars, their mortgage, and actually looking after their fellow humans, right? So they're quite more than happy for their parents to end up in the care industrial complex, right? So yeah, man, the system will move in, it will sell that old person's house, it will get hold of their pension, and that's it. Everything will be sold and put into their future elderly healthcare, man, which will be putting them in a home, which is either run by a state, the state might palm it off to a private company. All depends how much money you have, right? And this is what I don't ever save money. That's why I'll never do mortgages, right? Because when you get to that age, they take everything off you. You don't get to keep it. Yeah? And even if, let's say, your kids or something did look after you, they'd have to sell your house to pay for the gap in them taking time off work to look after you. It's such a crooked, disgusting system, man, where, yeah, man, like, and yeah, like I said, the more you own, the fucking more problematic it is, right? The guys actually own nothing that turn up into the medical system, that have got no pension, no housing. They get moved through pretty quickly because there's nothing really, there's no kind of legal process in getting anything off them. They have nothing, and they actually get moved through the system quite quickly, which is the opposite of what you think, right? And yet again, that's a little hack there. So yeah, man. The ones that own nothing get moved for very quickly. The ones that own a house, the ones that have, done the ABCs of life and gone along with the matrix, own a car, own a mortgage, have got a pension, they get stuck in a hospital for the longest time because of the whole legal process of the system getting rid of their house, taking control of their assets and everything to basically chuck them in a care home. And what's a care home? Okay, some of these care homes are quite fun, but you're essentially a prisoner, right? It's essentially a prison with just nice carpet and them reclining chairs for old people. If you've got dementia, you can't just say, I'm going out for the day, guys, and jump on a bus and go to a seaside and coffee shop. They won't let you out, man. You'll be under lock and key. And now you can see how and why a lot of these elderly people are so fucking frustrated. Not only have they got dementia, everything they've worked for has been taken off them, and now they're stuck in a fucking care home. And they've probably already lost their wife and stuff. It's kind of dark, man. It's dark. And this is why I can although I don't agree with it, I can see why people think this is a prison planet. I don't agree with that language. I think you should never call it that personally because you're putting a spell on yourself. But I also I see where people are coming from when they say this is a prison planet, man, because, the casino always seems to win, and what else can I further add to that? So yeah, man, the medical industrial complex, man, is quite dark. Oh, so that's what, yeah, so what I was going to say, it's going to be interesting to see how it's going to end up. I'm 30, I'm like mid-30s, 36. I guess you said mid-30s. Most people my generation don't want to work in that game of care work. Looking after the elderly, looking after the vulnerable. The generations below us definitely don't want to do it. All they want to do is, I don't know. They think they can make a living on YouTube or being a barber. They either want to be a tattoo artist, a barber, or a YouTuber. None of them wants to help an elderly person take a shit or give them a lift to a shop and help them do shopping and sit with them while they watch crappy TV, right? So when we're elderly, I don't know what Generation A is going to be like, man. They can't even boil an egg. I don't think they're going to be able to look after us as elderly people. So fuck, man, it's going to be interesting to see what happens when we get old. Maybe culture will have changed by then. Maybe we've gone back to our pagan roots where you get to a certain age and you throw yourself off a cliff and have a big ceremony because, And hey, me personally, being honest, I don't think that's such a bad thing. Because this whole thing of keeping elderly people alive, when they can barely even fucking lift a spoon up to their mouth, yet you're pumping them full of medication to keep them alive. They're stuck in a bed all day until someone has the time to change them and change their fucking nappy. It's gross, man. It's very loosey. It's very much a louche thing of I don't know, man. It's very dark. So yeah, man. Me personally, I'm sorry it's going to offend people, but as a very honest person, I think it'd be good if we brought in some kind of pagan mindset where we just get to a certain age and we say, hey, time to give my blood back to the soil. What makes the grass grow? Blood. I'm too old now. There's a cliff. Let's have a pagan ceremony. Yay, worship our pagan gods, and whoosh, off the cliff we go. Wow, this conversation went very dark, but it's a dark topic, and you guys should know that I don't shy away from dark topics. So we live in a twilight world. There are no friends at dusk.